Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kavita Taragi, Pro Vice Chancellor, Chitkara University. And on behalf of Chitkara University, it is indeed a deep privilege to welcome Honorable Chief Minister of Punjab, Captain Amarinder Singh ji, and all our industry guests to this virtual roundtable, Recalibrate 2020, getting the youth of Punjab industry ready for the post-COVID world. No other time in history would reflect the very concept of shifting goalposts as does today. Disruptions, largely due to exponential technologies, were the new normal till recently, and we were gearing up to meet the challenges of Industry 4.0. This pandemic has thrown us all out of gear and shifted the new normal to an unimaginable orbit altogether. Future of work and lifestyles have shifted the very ecosystem, and it is time to examine what shifts are likely to be. To that end, Chitkara University decided to host a virtual roundtable discussion with participation of academia and the government, with a view to complement state government's very successful employability initiatives, Punjab Ghar Ghar Rozgar and Karobar Mission. Now, I would like to request Dr. Ashok K. Chitkara, Chancellor, Chitkara University, to welcome Honorable Chief Minister of Punjab, Captain Amarinder Singh ji.
A very good afternoon. On behalf of the Chitkara fraternity, it is indeed a matter of immense honor for us to welcome Honorable respected Chief Minister of State of Punjab, Captain Amarinder Singh ji, and all the industry dignitaries present for the first virtual roundtable for Recalibrate 2020 Reset, Rethink, Redo, getting the youth of Punjab industry ready in the post-COVID world. Sir, first of all, I would like to mention that under your kind and the generous patronage and your visionary leadership, the state of Punjab has flourished immensely in every field from A to Z, being from agriculture to the youth. You have indeed taken such a wonderful initiative like Ghar Ghar Rozgar and Karobar Mission for the employment of the youth, which has boosted their morale and has given the immense hope for the bright future. I would like to take this as an opportunity to convey our heartfelt gratitude as we got a brilliant chance to meet you during the iconic event, the 550th birth anniversary celebration of Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji. People from all over the world came to attend this magnificent and the iconic event. Nobody knew that the corona crisis would arrive all of a sudden. However, your magnificent leadership helped us to overcome this bigger challenge. You have lead from the front with the sole mission, Mission Fateh, ensuring the well-being of each and every citizen of the state of Punjab. It is indeed because of your able guidance and tremendous leadership, Punjab is counted among the best states to have handled the COVID-19 so well. Hence, we would like to pay our heartfelt gratitude to you, sir. Your valued contribution toward the development of Punjab economy has phenomenal, and we are deeply indebted to the tremendous and the untiring support that you have shown in every sector. Hence, we have all gathered here to share a common concern about the current times and also about the times that lie ahead in front of all of us. As academia, industry and the government of Punjab, the honors come on us to prepare the youth in order to fit in well with the new normal post-COVID world. We are all sure with the kind and generous patronage of you, sir, will be able to tide over this difficult situation and come out with a brilliant roadmap to show light to the youth of the state. As I would like to say that with your God blessing and your kind support, this too shall pass. On behalf of the students and the faculty of Chitkara University, I would like to personally thank each and every industry guest for being a part of this first virtual roundtable today. Thank you, sir. God bless the state of Punjab. Long live the state of Punjab. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well, let us now commence Recalibrate 2020 with our first speaker, Unmesh Pawar. Unmesh is a partner and head KPMG India with 26 years of experience across IT, finance, and consulting. Unmesh, please, we'd love to hear you.
Thank you very much, Kavita. I think the only thing that I'd like to caveat here is I'm the head of HR for KPMG here in India. We are 25,000 people, and I'd like to thank Chitkara University, Dr. Ashok Chitkara, as well as the Honorable Chief Minister for gracing the event and allowing me to represent KPMG here today. The last 6 months have anything been less than what is a black swan event. And I think what it has really done is brought disruption to the fore. And disruption in my mind has been primarily on account of three reasons. One, of course, is the whole thing around the health scare that we've all gone through and experienced so closely. Second, I think, is if you look at our industries and our companies, organizations that had walked down the path of Industry 4.0 or walked down the Internet of Things journey were relatively in a better position with those that had not jumped upon it. And organizations or companies that were labor intensive felt the heat of this because clearly with the loss of migrant labor, manufacturing to an extent came to a standstill. And all of this obviously has had an economic impact. And whilst all of us are hoping for better times, but it's a reality that we are all confronted right now with. And as we look at this, I think this, and we've talked a little bit about the new norm, and the hope is that we really don't go back to the old way of working. But I, for one, genuinely believe that what is changing going forward is roles are going to drastically change. And that obviously has an implication on skill development and education going forward. And we've all talked about it in various forums and read about it. Clearly, jobs that are jobs of just intermediaries will be disrupted by technology. Jobs that primarily just require efficiencies are going to be disrupted by automation and technology. So anything that can be done by a system would be done by technology. Anything which is just a process, is a repeatable process, we know that automation is going to take over. So that's a reality we have to confront and be real with. Newer jobs are going to come our way, whilst the older traditional jobs continue to start to fade away. And with all of that, I think the focus from an education standpoint clearly, first and foremost, needs to shift to more application-based skill building. And I say that because we know that knowledge today has truly got democratized. And I think in the last 6 months, you for one at Chitkara would have experienced how students have lapped on to the digital platforms from an education standpoint. So right now, I don't think our students are necessarily looking for our teachers to impart knowledge to them, because knowledge is democratized, is available out there. But what do we do with that knowledge and how do we apply that knowledge is very important. I think that that's the big shift that we will have to make in our education system going forward. Giving a very simple example, right? Somebody who's studying automobile engineering, knowing the parts of that automobile is good enough, right? I mean, that's what you learn. But the question is, what happens with the fuel injection system? What happens with when a part gets heated? What is the implication of that on the overall automobile? And what do you do with that, right? I think that's the whole thing that we need to be able to be focused on. So that's the first element that I think is shifting for me, is our focus on application-based skill building. The second one in my mind is, I think with some of the stuff that the central government's been talking about, trying to push more for the whole Atmanirbhar movement, or really being able to push the entrepreneurship movement in India, we need to be able to push innovation and the ability to think new to the grassroots. And I think where better than our schools and education system and our universities, where we need to foster more incubation centers and build our students in a manner that they are comfortable experimenting with things, because that mindset, that curiosity, that mindset is going to spark innovation. And when some of these people either walk down the path of entrepreneurship, or if they come into corporate India or go back into our shop floors, they're going to disrupt, they're going to innovate, they're going to come up with better ways of doing things. So that's the second one for me, the need to really innovate and think new, and think new at the bottom. The third thing for me, I think, is the softer skills and the human skills, which are going to become more important in a virtual world, in a digital world. As we move forward, the impetus and focus on helping people connect with each other across social boundaries is going to become more important. So I think those finesse, the softer skills are going to be more imperative. And how do you enable students to do that in the new world is going to become very important. So I think those are the three big shifts that I see, and I'm hoping that the government of Punjab as well as Chitkara University, you will reflect on this and see what can be done. We, from our standpoint, right, as KPMG, have been very central in the last 25 years in our capacity, working with various state governments as well as central governments. And we are hoping that the new national education policy becomes an opportunity for all of us to be able to make the shifts that we desire, right? I mean, a great implementation of that could mean transformation for a state, but a not so good implementation could mean disaster, because what we are losing out is really time. And in a development of a nation, in a development of a state, you never get time back, because that's opportunity lost. So we are really hoping that partnerships here will result into Punjab really using the national education policy and be able to, in the spirit of redefine what education would mean for Punjab, and therefore creating jobs for the future. And just on the closing, I think what we've been working with as KPMG in some of the areas, and we're in conversation with some of the states in India now, where we're looking at some heuristic models, whereby looking at what the current industry footprint in a particular state is, we are trying to extrapolate to say what could look like the industry footprint of that state, and work backwards from there to say what skills are going to be important, and therefore what is the implication of that skill building today to the education policy for that state, right? So I think those are things that we are doing, and we'd be more than happy to at some point partner with that, more of a crystal ball gazing kind of a thing. So those are some of my thoughts. I, again, on behalf of KPMG, would like to thank the opportunity that Chitkara University has provided, and thank you, the Honorable Chief Minister, for gracing the occasion. Thank you. Back to you, Kavita.
Thank you so much, Umesh. The huge takeaways for us, and definitely we're going to ponder over all of them. Yes, our next guest is Sandesh Kumar. He's the Global Head of Talent Acquisition at Wipro Limited, with 20 years of experience across HR verticals. Sandesh, we're just waiting to hear you.
Thank you, Kavita. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Ashok Chitkara, Dr. Madhu Chitkara, and for inviting us, and also the Honorable Chief Minister of Punjab, Shri Amarinder Singh ji, for gracing this event. As my fellow colleague from the corporate world said, that nobody was ready for this kind of disruption. It came suddenly. We were seeing it happening in our neighboring country. Nobody thought it would come to us in such a quick time span. I still remember I was boarding out a flight in Bombay. I just landed from US, and I got a message that tomorrow we need to take some decisions of shutting down our operations. With an organization which has around 170,000 people across 100 plus countries, it's not that easy to take a decision over a time and then say, then look at the entire thing, because there are a lot of heads that you have to take care of, and a lot of houses and families that you have to think about. But as it says that every disruption brings a new beginning of a new channel, of a new way, how you develop your things as per the upcoming times. I guess this jottle has woken up a lot of industries, including ours, where we never thought of an opportunity of letting people work from where they are. But as time progressed, we saw a lot of change in our own approach, in our own way of thinking, and also our customers that we cater to around 500. We have 1,000 plus customers from the 500 Fortune organizations that we work with. All were ready to experiment with us and let us think beyond our normal norms of working from offices. It has been now around 5 months that around 70% to 80% of our staff has been working from home. And trust me, none of the parameters that we get monitored on have gone down. We being from the IT industry and supporting a lot of critical banking operations, manufacturing, industries and other all industries. You talk about energy, you talk about automobiles. We service them from a lot of aspects. We need to maintain a lot of compliances. We need to maintain a lot of things that are there. And our first worry was, would we be able to manage them? And trust me, in the last 6 months, we have seen that all those parameters also have been green. Keeping that aspect in mind, keeping that kind of positiveness in mind, we could really see that, this our sudden abnormal has brought a lot of normalcy in our thought process in terms of whether we can explore working out of areas, captive areas that we call campuses, and let people work from where they are and see if the productivity of these people have increased, which truly has. People working from home have, shown a lot of excellence in terms of how they want to perform. We have seen people taking an extra step in terms of putting their extra mile to deliver things. Yes, at some times people do get dejected, people do get demoralized, because at one point of time, we are all humans. We want to get in touch with people. We want to talk to different kind of people. We want to know people. We want to feel people around us, and sitting at home talking to your family also becomes monotonous. But yes, that norm also we try to break. We did a lot of changes in our approaches in our organization to see how best we can reach out to humans, to our staff, to our colleagues, and say that we are here to support you. As time is progressing, as we were discussing before this official meeting began, we are seeing a lot of positive trend in the industry where there is a lot of demand. As I said, we are a organization which deals with IT, it deals with technology, it deals with future, with digital platforms. And for all this, we require a lot of human hands. And as I speak, our calendars for the next year see a lot of demand that is coming through, a lot of requirement for youth to be a part of our organization that is there. As we had an annual discussion, we are anticipating that while we recruit around 30 to 35,000 people a year, we might have to, put that number ahead by at least 10 to 15% this year, because we are seeing that demand of our customers increasing, where the customer is saying that instead of having 100, you should have 400 or 200 or 300 to support me, because that is what is required. You never know which country will have what problem. And that lesson the customers also have learned, where they used to say you keep a little staff and deliver more. Today they're saying you keep ample staff and deliver the best that you can. So there is a lot of positive trend, but yes, there is a caution line also that we have to draw, that this kind of situation, it is not going to end so fast. It's going to continue, and it can get worse in some countries also. Are we geared to take the leap? Are we geared to take the abnormal and make it normal? The answer is yes. We'll have to think out of boxes. As the new education policy has come in, there's a lot of practical change that has been brought into the system, which was required from a very long time. I hope that change gets implemented fast, so that a lot of youth get ready for the industry. Rather doing the education which is more book oriented, they start to work along with what is required for the future and get themselves ready. And as an organization that I represent, we have requirements, we will have requirements, and we will like to take a lot of people in our organization and make them our assets. And we are all geared and committed towards that. And as we always do, and we always say that we are there to support all the students that are there who want to grow their careers and be a part of the future that is coming, and future being always bright. It is important that we also work at the grassroots level, that is the university level, and also get support from the governments, so that we have the youth ready to be a part of this organization. That's all from my side, Kavita, and thank you for inviting me for this roundtable.
Thank you so much, and good to know that you have a lot of requirements. Sounds good to us. And our next guest comes from an industry which has shown huge profits, and he's Sunil, and he's the India and South Asia Education Head with Amazon. More than 20 years of IT experience across Fortune 500 companies like Adobe, Microsoft. Over to you, Sunil, please.
Thank you, Kavita. Thank you, Chitkara University, and thank you, Honorable Chief Minister, for being here. Just want to give you a quick takeoff from where Unmesh left out, I think the market has changed dramatically, and this is driving a whole bunch of opportunities for students. Okay, and I was yesterday in a startup review, and I had this young startup that's talking about a community building platform that he's created for himself, which primarily is going to help and build the passion economy. See, what's happening with the digital payments getting more or less standardized, people can actually start doing a lot of entrepreneurial stuff on the web, which wasn't possible before COVID. Okay, so that's driving a whole different set of skills. People are offering new set of skills online and driving a whole bunch of revenue opportunities there. So that's one big change that's coming our way, and I think that's something that students can invest in. See, one of the things that's being visible across is the fact that the need for a lifelong learning attitude is what is getting more and more rampant now. If you look at online learning, right, it always existed, but nobody really used it. And in the last 6-7 months, we've seen a surge of usage in online learning, which primarily allows people to start self-learning very easily, which means that they can acquire skills. And at Amazon, we've got programs like Educate, which primarily gives you access to content, and students can actually pick it up and pick up any of the skills, from basic cloud skills to advanced skills about making skills for Alexa, for example, voice-based skills. You can learn all that free of cost using AWS Educate. But that's something that we see people are taking to a lot more. So one of the areas that we're really focusing on is to try and drive advanced usage of skills and building skill sets in the market that can look at building at where the future is going. And for example, AI/ML. Because of the surge in online content, you have a lot of data being created now, which can be analyzed, and you can get predictive models very easily, which wasn't possible before this lockdown and shutdown. Okay, so it's creating a whole bunch of new roles that we can see. For example, content creation, augmented reality and VR. AR/VR content always existed. Suddenly now there is a surge in people testing it out, which never happened earlier. So that's the good side is that a lot of digital tools are getting adopted, which is fantastically great, which is going to create a whole new market, because 55,000 institutions in the country, or 2.5 million schools, all require digitization in some form, which cannot be serviced by the small size of startups in the country. So there is a massive opportunity for entrepreneurs to come out and try and solve critical needs. For example, teachers are struggling to build content. It's not easy. Okay, and the tools that they have right now is PPT is what they primarily use. That's not an effective online teaching tool. Okay, so there is a need for that to get changed. There are a lot of opportunities coming in for students to build solutions around learning management, content creation for the online economy, where learning is going to become a lifelong learning process. It's not a one-time, short-term kind of program. So that's going to drive different behavior, and that's going to open a whole bunch of new startups that are servicing that economy. And you're going to see that scaling in a big way. We're seeing that already happening. So AWS primarily is focused on providing you a more scalable and secure cloud. So anything you want to do on the cloud is primarily what you can lean on. And we're seeing that surge happening. So I think that's where students should be investing time on, trying to adapt a lifelong learning skill. And NEP basically opens that up even better, because you're actually accessing a whole bunch of new things that you can look at doing, which wasn't possible earlier. So lifelong learning, acquiring digital skills, making sure students acquire fundamental technology skills. And AI/ML, blockchain, no more is something of the future. It's happening right now. And you can learn of that right now online. So fundamental technology skills, having an attitude of lifelong learning, okay, and helping build solutions for education, which is going to be a fairly large opportunity for everybody, is something we should invest time in. Thank you very much.
Oh, that was absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, and huge takeaways, honestly. Thank you. Well, our next guest is Francis Padmudan, Senior Director, APAC Kelly Outsourcing and Consulting Group, with 2 decades of experience in recruitment and staffing industry. Francis, please.
Thank you, Kavita. So guys, honored to be a part of this discussion. Thank you, Chitkara management team, and thank you, Honorable Chief Minister. So I think I'm just going to go slightly different to what Unmesh and Sunil said. So yeah, for me, a skill is like a wild goose chase. You know, you end up catching with the skill one day or the other, but it keeps on moving from one post to the next. So what's important, I think from a skill point of view, I'm going to stick to the topic, is that it's critical thinking and followed by creative thinking. I mean, it's basically being innovative. So I still recall one of the numbers I read by SHRM they said that 47% of the employer felt that the gap is the critical thinking by any and every candidate out there. Now, that's what is a piece which I feel everybody should focus on, which further is backed by all the technology out there, which is we're learning, we're using, whether it is a coding to an analytics and all kind of usage which we put up a work. So critical and creative for me stands as the most essential point. And again, from back to my 2 cents to the entire Punjab government would be employability. I think that's an interesting concept or the interesting thought what has been raised. Employability is all about skill gap. So I would only request a statement where a Punjab government could proudly say that 80% of our students have a strong internship program. Internship need not means you need to be out there with one of the big brands getting interned in terms of what you need to work tomorrow. So that's where your skill gap really hits the road. And you've realized what's that essence you need to develop or recover as you move ahead. So internship program could also be with startups, could also be with your MSME who are out there, where you learn actually how to work in an integrated environment, where you learn how to be an entrepreneur for tomorrow. These kind of opportunities, if I think Honorable Chief Minister, the government can make for the students who are passing out, would be of a real big help for all the students who are going to go out there and work for all of us tomorrow, and also create a lot of entrepreneurs where the startups will be formed. So that's it from my side. Thank you for being part of this call, Kavita. Really appreciate. I'll hand it over back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we all need to be looking at critical thinking for sure. Thank you. Really good words and good thoughts.
Kavita, can I request you? Our Honorable CM has to go for some meeting. So I will request you to welcome Sir for this thing. So, Sir, on behalf of Chitkara University, and on behalf of all the industry sitting here, and I'm very thankful to the industry guys, those who came for this roundtable discussion on collaborating different this thing. And sir, I will request you, because as you have a meeting with some other servers, so I will request you to talk something about where we can help Punjab and help our students and help the industry, and where industry can help the academia. So I think this is a platform where academia, industry and the government are on one platform, and we can do wonders for our state of Punjab. Thank you, sir, and giving this opportunity to Chitkara University. Always thanks to Punjab government for helping us out to become Chitkara University as Chitkara University is. Because when we started in 2002, sir, you were the chief minister at that time also. So it is only aapke kar kamlo se Chitkara University bani hai. So we are very honored you to be here, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, firstly, it's good to be here with you this afternoon. I'm sorry, I must apologize again that I arrived late, but I was into disconnect everything now, as you know, it was a video conference, so that took a little long time, because we despite the way the world is advancing, have outs and breakouts, and suddenly the screen goes blank, so it all has extra time. We have been through a phase of everyone knows that contributing to us down in industry. It started off in March. We had to shut industry down. And really, it's taking us a long time to get back on the rails, but we are managing. Though they are doing well now, and it's catching up, and everything seems to be. But we've lost just 6 months, and 6 months in the economy of a state is a long time. You have mentioned many things, but first I want to tell you that on the COVID front, we seem to be holding our own. To indulge in some, partake in some effort we were the first to bring in a curfew, etc., etc. And I think somehow we've got things controlled. Now, for instance, our population is more than Delhi, and our mortality is 1/3 of Delhi. So I hope Delhi also recovers and things work out there too. But things are holding on here. We are doing our best. Why I was for this, because what we've done, the payment is managed by team. And after I take 15 MLAs every day, and we give them a task for every part of Punjab what they're supposed to go and do regarding this COVID business. To check education, online education, to check various things. People are being spread right out the state so that we can do it. And check the hospital, medicine facility. For instance, we had 100 tests and this will be 30,000. And that is the only way of trying to bring this under control. We are going at the moment into a peak. The figures here are, I can show you, are as of today, we have 1,964 people. And numbers lost is about 1,990. And the total number of patients we have samples tested have been 12 lakhs so far, out of which positive have been 67,000. So that is now, I think we will reach a peak in probably the next 2 weeks as our medical team has predicted. And then we should flatten out and perhaps come downwards. Anyway, fingers are crossed, and I hope things go the way they are, because nobody knows anything about this disease. And but it is affecting us in every way. Now, our economy, as you know, is based on one of history, which is much later effort that was put in by Punjab, and I'll tell you why. Because when Punjab was one unit, that means Haryana, Himachal, and Punjab, our chief minister, then a very able chief minister, Sardar Pratap Singh Kairo, he took the industrial belt of ours to Gurgaon and Faridabad. And that developed because it was too close to the Pakistan border. And the rest, of course, was agriculture. And of course, in the upper areas, we had our hydroelectric, etc., which was being developed. Now in '66, Punjab split. So our industrial belt went to Haryana. And we were left with nothing other than along the GT road and Ludhiana bit. So these are things that we are now concentrating on it. We have, in fact, I've got the figures here. We've got a large area which we are now putting together in the hope that we will be able to invite industry not only from those who are in India, but there are also many who are moving out of China, and I hope they will also look towards us. One is, of course, 1,000-acre modern industrial park in Ludhiana, which is coming up. 1,000-acre integrated manufacturing cluster in Rajpura, which is on the main highway, and 1,000 acres of industrial township at Bathinda, and 200 acres of ESDM park in Mohali. So this is at the moment going on. Now, communication is was our biggest problem. I'm happy to say this, that we've got now a number of airfields working. Chandigarh is one of them. Adhampur is one of them in Jalandhar. Then we've got Amritsar going, Bathinda is going, Halwara is now starting, so that Ludhiana is going to be covered also. So we have Pathankot is there also. So we have got air connectivity. And another very good bit of news is that the government of India has now approved, and it's a very large project, right from Katra in Jammu, a new highway right up to Delhi. And it's going to be 8 lane either way. So it's 16-lane highway. And already acquisition of land, we are starting on that so that this can be quickly put into action. So these are the things that we are looking forward to improve communication. Education-wise, you should know that best. Chitkara University is now one of our leading universities here. We've got a number of universities that have come up, number of schools that have come up. And more than that, I think what we have been able to achieve in this in this COVID, probably one of the positive things that have emerged is that the communication and education via this what we are doing, this virtual video conferencing. So that is starting off, and that is something that's helped, and that's helping us in our government schools, because you'd be happy to know that this year we have had 100,000 more children coming into government schools for education than we had last year. So it's and the results of our government schools this year has been, both for the 10th and 12th, higher than private schools. Now it's a remarkable thing which never happens, and therefore because of those results, children are now shifting to government schools. We put in computer labs in all of the schools, and hopefully this is going to be the beginning of a new future for us. As I said, we have two ways of for the economy to flourish. One is, of course, industry, and hopefully that's going to grow. Secondly, it's our agriculture, and that is our biggest problem which we are going to happen. I remember I was listening to you saying that we need skilled children to come in and skilled people to come in. Problem is going to be there because 65% of our people live in the villages, and you get the urbanites who are more going in for all skill development and all, and the ruralites have not been going. Now we are pushing it. We are pushing it because, as I said, our rural schools are doing well, and we are trying to bring them in. This new education policy which you referred to, I think it's a very good idea and a good way that they're going to planning it. But we haven't yet seen it because we are waiting for it to come from Delhi to us, so that we as a state can look into it and also suggest ways and means to improve it. Because our education can't be the same as in Goa, and Goa can't be the same as in Kerala, and Kerala can't be the same as in Guwahati. We all have to have our own little innovations to try and see how we can bring this forward. But yes, I think if it is going to be on the lines of, let's say Germany by the 10th class knows exactly what that aptitude of their child is. And if that child's aptitude is for education, say for some on the scientific lines or on the art lines or whatever it is, they put them in to university for that. And those they feel have reached a limit, then they send them for skill training, and so that they can go into learn a skill and go into into industry. So that if it is that, otherwise that is certainly what I am going to be trying to implement inside this policy that comes, so that we can do it in this manner. Otherwise, we'll have our children left over. Every year, my land holdings are dropping. Today, I have 72% of my people who own less than 5 acres of land, and 2 sons, and it'll come to 2.5 acres of land. And that is the end of the matter. You can't survive on 2.5 acres. Therefore, we are also encouraging very much that we convert into those crops which can give a higher return for the moment and less water consumption, because we are facing that crisis. Our river waters are dwindling. Our glaciers are melting. It's this greenhouse effect that's taken place. Our subsoil water, which used to be 35 feet, is now 350 feet. So, small farmers can't pump from that distance. So these are problems that we are going to be faced with. So we want to go in for those crops which industry must support, of course, and that is where water consumption is reduced. We want to get out of rice, we want to get out of wheat if possible, and go in for maybe things like I've got 2 for potatoes, for instance. ITC is also handling potatoes, Pepsi Cola is handling potatoes here. And similarly, other crops, cotton, a lot of our southern industry, we've got a very good, this year I have 100,000 more acres of cotton, which has come from the rice belt. So that's an important thing for us to do. So we want to do that, but that has to be in collaboration with all of you, for the captains of industry, who are going to have to come up with those units to handle that product. So I would also welcome it very much. And Punjab will do everything. We've got an organization called Invest Punjab. And Invest Punjab is such that anyone can come, anything we can do to assist. All your whatever we need our requirements, government requirements, whether it is pollution control or something else, all is done at the moment. In fact, we'll give you time You come and put up your plant, and within 2 years, you get all your, once the plant is working, you'll get all your permission, so that you don't have to sit and do all this. You know, governments function. I am in government, so I know how these things run. Things that they're just too slow. Things have to be much quicker than what they're happening. So we are trying to innovate to try and see that government can assist. And I think our Invest Punjab is going to be there for everyone to come. And so that you start the project, and then get whatever your requirements are post that time over a period of 2 years. That's the sort of thing we are looking at. And we are offering from a state. So I'm very happy that Chitkara University has done this. We've had other of our colleagues universities who have done it. Punjab is becoming an educational hub. I've got, for instance, Ashoka, they are now called Plaksha here. They are coming up here in Mohali. Then we have got, hopefully we are even looking at some of the universities from America and UK, etc., to come and put up their campuses here. Hopefully that will be also we'll be successful in that, because the time has come for our children to be educated here and to be employed here, rather than all of them running off to Canada or somewhere else to go and study there. I want them to study here, reach the pinnacle of their educational level, and remain here with me, and remain here in our country, if not with me, Delhi and Madras and Bombay, wherever else. And so that that brain drain is stopped. That brain drain, we are losing a lot of children. I can tell you once, when my last government in 2002, which was mentioned, I went to Bangalore, and I went to one of these groups to talk to them about bringing IT to here. We've got a big IT sector here in Mohali also. And when I went to the room, I saw a lot of children who would come to get jobs there. And I suddenly found all of them coming up to say hello. And about 80% of them are from Punjab, sitting in Bangalore, looking for jobs in Bangalore. So I then thought, that why not here? Anyway, they were very nice. That company also came here. So Mohali has developed into quite a hub now. But still, a lot requires to be done. You yourself mentioned the world is changing, requirements are changing, everything is changing. And I think we have to keep in pace with that. So we are, from our side, going to do anything that we can for that. And I hope you will then cooperate with us and come. We would welcome any of you to come to us, and we will do whatever we can in our powers to welcome you and to give you whatever you wish, so that you can be part of the growth that we hope will be taking place in the state over the next couple of years. So it's a great pleasure to have met you. And thank you, Mr. Chancellor and Madam Pro-Chancellor, and all of you ladies and gentlemen, for being here today and for patiently listening to me. I hope I've been able to get through to some of you. And I hope that I'll be able to welcome you here whenever you so choose to come. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so very much for wonderful thoughts. And I wish we would have had you for longer time. Anyways, moving forward, that was great. Moving forward, our guest, the next guest is Sagar Raina. He's Vice President and Head of Talent Acquisition at Airtel, with more than 17 years of experience across IT, e-commerce, and telecom. Yes, Sagar, please. We can't hear you, Sagar.
You're on mute, Sagar.
Yeah, we couldn't hear you. We can, Sagar?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Ashok and Kavita and all the team for giving an opportunity, I think, to listen to some of the best industry colleagues, and I think a lot of thoughts which came. Now, personally, I think the way I look at situation is normally, if you look at from economic angle, there are three broad scenarios which can happen or which are going to happen. One can be a V-shaped recovery, wherein the way we went down same way will go up as well. It can be a U-shape. We pause there, make a plateau, and then start rising, right? And then there's a L thing wherein we are kind of down and we stay there. So I don't think so. Any pessimist will also assume a L shape, but in my view, it will be primarily a U shape recovery. What is looking like, right? We might be down, but I think we have plateaued and probably will start moving up from here. Now, see, if you look at the history of pandemic, be it SARS, Hong Kong flu, Asian flu, Spanish flu, right? So we were down, world economy was down, but then they recovered also at the same pace with which the economy went down. And I'll specifically give an example. Say SARS happened in somewhere in 2003-4, and origin was in China, right? If you look at that time, I think it was not a pandemic in India, but it was more in China, and there was shutdown and this kind of thing which were there in China. And China produced Alibaba and Baidu and other apps during that time, right? Which because there was a time to think different, right? Act different. That's why they were able to create world-class organization, right? They were early adapters to technology, or in terms of e-commerce. In fact, much ahead of US. Now, this opportunity right now, when whole of the world is looking at suspicion to China, this can be a Y2K movement for us. Y2K happened, if some of you are from that particular industry, computers were made in 50s, and after 99, they couldn't change it to 2000, right? They never thought, actually. But then whole of the bank records and everything would have been mess. And India saw that opportunities, and Wipros and Infosys and other companies actually capitalized that moment and became global giants. So this probably is a Y2K movement. I was reading that we might be the largest mobile exporter, billion-dollar industry, which is in making. We were talking about education startups, like I hear from my colleague from Amazon. I think we have already produced a couple of unicorns. Baiju's valuation is $16 billion. So these kind of situation actually can give us a lot of opportunities to people. And nowadays youngsters are, I think they're very technology oriented. They're very adaptable. They're very flexible. And with the help of probably incubation centers within universities like Chitkara, probably you can start sponsoring those incubation projects, which can turn out to be probably good startup ideas, which can create employment, which can even employ more students from your universities and nearby areas. So it's really a great opportunity for an education institute like Chitkara University, which is renowned to probably start and put some amount to fund some startup ideas, right? Which student can actually work on those cutting edge technologies and products. So yeah, this is all what I have to say. Thanks a lot again for the opportunity given.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much. Yes, opportunity in crisis, that's the mantra, and I'm sure, there are going to be a lot of things happening, in this crisis. Our next guest is, of course, from an industry which is the most badly hit during this pandemic. Meena Bhatia, Vice President and General Manager of Le Méridien, New Delhi, with 27 years of experience in hospitality and talent acquisition. Meena, we'll want to hear from you now.
Thank you, Kavita. Thank you. So, a Jalandhar-born Punjabi, I think all I can say is that Punjab has a reputation that precedes it. I think Punjab has won the hearts of many people around the world through its food. Punjabi people are known for resilience, for bravery, for being laborious. And I think in many ways, Punjab has always led the path. So I think during these difficult times also, we hope that Punjab will take the lead and set an example for the rest of the country through its efforts to build hospitality. Hospitality, I believe, tourism and hospitality, I believe truly is a low-hanging fruit. It has contributed over 10% GDP of the country and across the world, actually. So it is a low-hanging fruit that can give immediate results. I know that there is a temporary pause in the industry. A business is stopped for now, but albeit I think it's only temporary, and it's going to come back very powerful and very strongly, and surely it's going to come back because there is something I'm hearing in the circles in the tourism industry is called a revenge tourism. So people are so tired of sitting at home. And I think during the lockdown, I'm quite sure that each one of us has dreamt of, the day the lockdown opens, I'm going to travel here, there, whatever. I still get calls from friends, where do you think we can go? What's safe, what's not safe? So I think it's only a temporary stoppage, and travel and hospitality will be back definitely and strongly. But for Punjab, I think the stage is already set for hospitality and tourism. And I think the government together with the academia, Chitkara does a lot. And I know that they run a fantastic program for the hotel management. And we have been the beneficiaries of this program for the last couple of years. So I think together with the industry leaders, with the educationalists and the administration, I think the stage can be really set, but all we need to take care is a couple of things for the children. It is difficult. I've been thinking about this. It's difficult for the youth who's graduating this year. It's difficult for them because it's shattered many a dreams, but I think we should motivate them to still dream, but dream a new dream for the new world that we are going to live in. There are going to be opportunities out there. There will be millions of opportunities, and I think we need to actually motivate them, encourage them, and show them the path. There is going to be no dearth of opportunities. We are a large country and we will survive. So I think we can use this time also to upskill our children a little bit. Our children do need a little upskilling in terms of soft skills that was mentioned earlier by some of my other co-panelists. And I think this is the right time to embrace a little bit more knowledge, to know more about the world, to know what are the new things that are happening across the world, how the world is preparing itself for the new world, so that children can prepare themselves and grow into that kind of a path, move into that path. So I think upskilling is important. There was a report of ENY that I read which said that 10% of the new jobs the jobs that are going to happen are going to be new jobs that have never existed before. And 37% of the people are going to be doing jobs for skills that they have not been trained for. So I think it's going to be a very different world, and we need to prepare our children for this. So I think universities like Chitkara need to take care of this right from the beginning so that they can upskill their children. We need to teach them to be innovative. It's going to be an era of startups. I think innovation is the key word. Innovation is required. I mean, even in the hotel industry, as we are getting ready to open up, there are so many things that have changed for us. There are so many new things that have come. Technology is going to take place, I mean, in every corner, from the car parking area to the back office, to the attendants, to everything in the cafeteria of the hotel. I think technology is playing an important part. So I think we need to foster an environment where we can actually groom our children to embrace this and come up with new ideas. I think Punjab, for example, is a food state of good food, etc. So I think food packaging industry, sustainable ideas on creating disposable wares, disposable high quality disposable plates, etc., which are going to be the norms in the industry now. We have been serving our guests for the last 5 months in disposable plates because we do not, I mean, they were all mostly quarantine guests. So I think we can, we can upgrade the quality of these things in a state like Punjab. We can start doing more farm to fork. We can do farmers markets, etc., because agriculture is the key. And we also need to actually encourage our children to explore more creative opportunities. There is a world open for them, and I think they need to go out there and explore. Like I said, they need to have new dreams, new actions, and they need to, they have paused their careers for a while, but they've also learned a lot. They have had a setback, but they've learned actually how to handle and deal with these unpredictable situations. I think after the partition of India, this is the worst, the biggest setback that has been, that we are all facing. And for many of us who are for sure, I'm in the baby boomer generation. So we have not seen any of this before. So we've learned it late in life, but our children who are coming into the business have learned it very quickly. They've learned and they've seen what unpredictability is all about and how to cope with it. So I think we need to actually build them from here, because the future of the country and the state, of course, is in the hand of the youth who are going to actually run and rule our lives in the future and run the country in the future. So it is up to us how we train them and make advantage of this unprecedented situation that we face. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Veena. And I think cheers to the revenge tourism. I hope that happens really
Yes.
soon. Okay, so our next guest is Anand Rao, Senior Vice President, HR at Adani Power, with 24 years of experience across core and engineering industries. Yes, Anand.
Thank you, Kavita. And a big thank you to Mr. Ashok and Madhu Chitkara for having given us this opportunity. It was a pleasure listening to the Chief Minister. I think he has a huge vision for Punjab, that he's going to lay down a lot of industries. So I guess a lot of your students will have opportunity in Punjab itself, quite a few of them. I don't know how many of us will have the choice to choose many of those students. I guess it will be taken mostly by all of them. Anyway, so in fact, Kavita, we were supposed to come to your college sometime in the month of March to hire, but unfortunately because of the COVID, we couldn't make it. Otherwise, next year, sure, we'll be there.
Please.
And probably, let's see, we are one of the organizations who are growing. Recently, we bought the Mumbai airport too. So it's a huge growth right now. As they say, you know, while there is pandemic and there's a downtrend happening, there are organizations who are using this as an opportunity. So Adani as a group has used this as an opportunity. We are growing not only in the infrastructure business, even in the energy sector, we are growing. We are on the acquisition mode of becoming a 20 gigawatt company, especially, and we are the largest renewable company in the world today. We just became that. Just to a little different kind of a thought process that I had was that if I really look at the post-pandemic COVID situation, let's imagine a situation where things are getting back to normalcy. I wouldn't say there would be a huge amount of change. Definitely there's going to be a lot of correction. There's going to be a balance between remote working and physical working. After all, humans are social animals. You know, they need a platform to collaborate, they need to compete, they need to arrive at consensus to solve problems. I think these are all possible only when you actually get together, when you actually sit across, discuss about the problems, understand the entire issues. And you also need an emotional, connect. We are all Indians, so we are emotionally connected with each other. So the emotions also are very important, which I think will happen. So people love to work in groups, in teams, in committees. Those things I think will come back. But there's going to be a lot of correction. There would be clear distinction between who would work out of home and who would work, out of office. Like a company like ours in the energy sector, we need to have a lot of physical presence there because the plant has to run. So being infrastructure will require a lot of physical presence. So that I think is very important. And see, the most important thing that I would say is, the learning happens only through observation. If you look at the animals, if I give an example, they learn how to hunt from their parents. So it's important to observe. That is only possible when you actually come together, when you're physically present. So as I said, there is going to be a correction between the two. I think that is very, very critical. And manufacturing is going to come back, definitely. See, the past 30 years, the country has focused more on services rather than manufacturing. And we have lost out on services because of, the focus was more on real estate rather than technology. So with China, focusing very high on manufacturing today because of the arrogance and the kind of way that they have been working. So there is a huge opportunity for this country. So I would see a lot of opportunity for students from your college and other colleges also. Enough opportunities and more to look at, look at opportunities or look at jobs. I think the opportunities are more in India than abroad. I would also see certain students from abroad also coming to India and working. That's a dream that I had, and I see it happening in the near future. I hope it does sooner than later. I think some of the areas that I would look at, which is critical, I think because of the data usage, which has actually gone up. I was told it's gone up by around 38% during this pandemic situation. So cyber security is going to be very critical. So how you actually manage your data, the privacy of the data is going to be absolutely critical. Data analytics, we in fact are wanting to hire a lot of data analytics people, but we're finding it difficult, not too many available in the market. So you can imagine data analytics and cloud administration and architecture are going to be very critical. In most of the organizations, if I see, let's say an organization like ours or a group like ours, there are a lot of, as a strategic goal, organization strategic goal, we look at critical skills. So what are those critical skills? I think becomes very important. So many of the students may also have to look at specializing in certain areas. People talk about gig economy and all that, which means you need to have more and more specialization there. So probably a little more of specialization might be required going forward. That's what I see. As we say, people talk about, artificial intelligence, ML and multiple other things, but this requires a human touch to operate it. So the emotions, the humanity, humanities, everything is going to be very critical. Statistics is going to be very important. So I would say there's a huge opportunity for students. Most of the students, use a lot of Facebook and other things to have friends. I do agree with that. But the emotional connect only comes when you actually have a physical connect. I think that's very important. So I would say that the things, if I summarize the whole thing, I would say you would do what you're supposed to do, but you will have to do it differently going forward. So a lot of those skills which people were not aware of in terms of handling the technology today, they have started, on that. I'm talking about the baby boomers who started using technology also. Okay, like one of the speakers said, people who did not use, the technology at all today started using, getting into Amazon, trying to, book. I think those are all very important things. So I think with this, I would say that there's a huge opportunity coming up, and it's going to only increase. It's going to only expand. Thank you very much, Kavita. Back to you.
Thank you so much. Lots of takeaways. You were really good. Thank you so much. Lots of learnings for us. Okay. Our next guest is Vineet Arora. He's Senior Vice President at Htfc Bank with 26 years of experience in banking and finance. Yes, Vineet, always a pleasure listening to you.
Thank you, Kavita, and good afternoon, everybody. And thanks to Chitkara University, Dr. Ashok Chitkara, Dr. Madhu Chitkara for giving us an opportunity. And I think it was a very enlightening talk by the CM Saab also. So I will now keep it brief because most of the eminent speakers have already told a lot of things. So I keep it as brief as possible and only doing the things which have not been touched upon. I am a very optimistic person, and I think whatever good or bad God does, it is for the good. So I personally feel that COVID is also an opportunity. It's a blessing in disguise. We have learned new ways of life. Believe me, before this COVID, I myself never thought so that we can do banking from home. Never thought so. But in these 6 months, I have found that I can be as effective as I was sitting in office. So it is a new learning for all of us. The way we are doing this virtual meeting also is of the fallout of the COVID only. And I must tell you, the banking has gone a lot of online, we were discussing earlier. Even customers' mindset has changed also. Now customers are feeling it good, preferring not to come to branches, but rather doing online. They wanted to learn the things. People who were earlier very much averse to net banking or mobile banking, they were calling us and they wanted to learn how to use mobile banking, how to use net banking. So a lot of things were there. So I think these are going to be new normal. And yes, we want to go back, but my feel is that this thing will continue for a long, long time. It will change our behavior also for a good. Coming to topic of the Punjab, that is of the making the student industry ready, I would say Punjab is a land of entrepreneurs. We all know very well. So I would say that also we should ensure that the students, rather than be making industry ready, they should be also made ready for run their own industries, making entrepreneurs. Yes, I know Chitkara has their own incubator. A lot of things are doing, but still I would say it is a high time. We look for the different avenues. Now we are a very large employer in Punjab. I would say we are one of the largest employers in private sector in Punjab, in the length and breadth of the Punjab. There's no doubt in that. And we are also recruiting from Chitkara also. We are happy with that also. But I would say that entrepreneurship capabilities are very good in the Punjabi people, and that should be inculcated. And I think Chitkara University can play a very pivotal role in all these things. Coming to industry ready for the making student, I think there's a disruption all around. Everybody talk about whether it's education or entertainment, anything. So digital, everybody talk. We have to ensure that people are digitally more savvy. They are learning a lot of things on internet, thing, machine language, robotics, artificial intelligence, whatever you may call. So I am not going to touch about that. But my most point is how to apply that in the industry. So that we should ensure as academicians how to applying these things digital, which is going to be a way of life and a new normal. For this, I think industry interface is very important. What I feel as a students or academics, industry interface is not to that desired level. If the industry interface is there, they are given some practical aspects. They are getting good knowledge of practical industries, maybe doing online projects, and they can submit on, they can showcase to the people maybe online. I think it's difficult to go offline as a moment physical, but I think if they are able to present good business models based upon innovations, I think it will give a long way in their capability building of the students. Second point is now everything is online. We are talking online. Our staff is talking online to the customers everywhere, whether it's Amazon or anybody, all the companies or hotel industry, anybody. So I think it is a how to make customer interface online. This also skill. It's a new skill we have to learn now. When we are in office, we know body language, we can see into eyes to eyes, with a lot of things we can do. I think it's a new skill which people have to acquire. And if Chitkara University make people understand, learn these new skills, I'm sure it will go a long way in the employability of their students, both in digital points. So 3 points are there: digital, making more them digital savvy, making them implementing this digital thing with the industry interface, industry experience, and making them communication skills far better in this new era of the digital world. Last but not the least, I think we have to ensure that our students are become psychologically very strong, because the saying in Punjabi is "Man jeete jag jeet." So I think it's a time we should ensure that, because this is a time students are not meeting anyone. Digital is very fine for people of our age group, but students, I feel they are in a different dilemma. So I think it's very important that psychologically also they are handheld. They are actually made stronger, not intelligently, but emotionally also. It's not IQ, it's EQ, which matters the most now, I must tell you. Now, intelligence is in Google. You can search Google, you can get any intelligent point. But EQ, emotional quotient, you have to only develop yourself. I think your university can play a lot of role. We are going to partner with the government of Punjab or Chitkara University in whatever way you think. So thank you very much once again for giving us the opportunity. So Kavita, all yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vineet. I know moving forward is digital employability, and I am glad you actually touched upon the psychological factor, which is so important at this point in time. Thank you. Our next guest is Natwar Kadil. He's from Hyundai Motors with 15 years of experience in auto industry. Yes, Natwar, please. Auto industry, we want to hear about that.
Thank you, Kavita. Firstly, thank you, Chitkara University, for providing this opportunity. And it was indeed a great listening to Honorable Chief Minister, especially a topic which he's talking about brain drain, retaining that talent and growing a talent. I'm sure with the vision set, we're going to take things forward. Well, moving back to what I'm here for, I'm sure all of us see a dream, but the degree of dream would vary from one to other. But not the all dreams come true, doesn't turn into a reality, because most of the time we all focus on results rather than the process. Just giving you an example, what I said is that the ghee is a product by a milk. Well, ghee is much costlier than the milk. It's simple reason, because it's undergo a process. In similar way, A student also undergoes a process of churning in education institutes. It is a place where dreams are cultivated, processed, and developed. Well, having said this, pretext of what I'm about to say is that the world right now is undergoing a phenomenal change, so as the educational sector. We are experiencing a first of kind of catastrophe that has literally shaken the humanity. While in the pandemic has caused unimaginable damage to the world at large, it's also forcing us to rethink a lot of things which we have never done otherwise. I'm sure at the last year end, if anybody would have said that let's move out of classrooms to online, everybody would have laughed on him. Well, this is the reality. Until unless we are not put into a situation, we don't tend to act. But look at today. Time and again, nature proves us one thing: change is inevitable. It's no longer about capability. It is all about copability. Well, I come from an auto industry which itself is seeing the paradigm shift in the business model. A decade back, I'm sure you would have heard Google is a search engine, Apple is a mobile manufacturer, and Tesla is startup. Well, they all are now my competitors. They have moved from information technology to manufacturing the cars. That's where the change of the business model is coming from. Well, the buzzword is mecha right now. When we talk about mecha, it's all about mobility, electric, connected, and autonomous. Well, this shift to the business model was thought that it would take about 5 to 10 years to see it in the mass space. But whereas the pandemic has brought standstill to the businesses, but at the same time, it's expired the entire process of mecha now. When I say when we're moving into mecha, it's about education, so as the moving the jobs, paradigm changes in that. When the business model changes, so as the requirement of resources will undergo change. So it's no more the conventional learning will go into place. I'm sure as a Chitkara, as a university, has doing a lot of innovations to bring about a paradigm change in the way engineering students are looked at. But it is not about just selecting in the campus. It is about a practical approach, because your technology is going to be electrification, and it is going to focus on information technology. I'm talking about cars, where I didn't use the word of mechanical engineer at all. Well, this is going to be the essence of an education, which is not just for a person who's technically engaged in manufacturing a car, but also the one who's part of the support function. Well, when I haven't said this, the most important thing as a student post a pandemic, it's very required. Some of the skills which I see that through the window of light here is the speed, the agility, the adaptability, and most important is the flexibility. The one who campuses all that, I'm sure it is not that the knowledge, because knowledge is a tip of just the keyboard button, but it is all about the capability, which makes a lot of difference. Well, moving on to the third point, which I would like to definitely talk about, collaboration. Nothing is going to change until the government, institute, and industries together collaborate and bring the change. Most of the speakers talked about and set the stage of what is going to be how education institute will change and how the markets will change. But it's important that we all three has to go hands in hands. It is not just the incubation center will make a difference, but it is important that the fund being provided an opportunity to recognize such talents. Well, one speaker said about the internship. I would like to go and talk about a little more about saying that we are not just internships. We got to handle the live projects of a basic, real practical problems. I'm sure that will bring a paradigm changes in this understanding how does the industry works. And most important thing, as an institute, I would only try to advise that you need not be associated with the industry. I think you'll have to be a part of the industry to bring the change. Some of the things which I also felt it that it's not always that we need to be a part of the job market. I think it's important that we'll have to understand that we also need to be a job creator. Well, opportunities comes to be creating something of their own, becoming a job creator or job seeker. Especially a state like Punjab, which is a wealth of resources. All it requires an idea to spark up the dreams, turn them into business realities. Well, but still, as a job creation, as a profession is not looked at. I think that's where we need to really harness a strength upon. As a nation, we have the youngest and the most vibrant population, but we should capitalize on the huge potential. I think it's just not about thinking out of the box. It's about harnessing the best of the innovation technology. Let's not forget, an agriculture plus technology can make you miles away go ahead. And that's what India is known for. I think it's important that we harness our own strength. In my humble opinion, education institutes should propel this ambition and make India a hub for innovations and startups. Here I submit my thoughts upon. Thank you very much for providing this opportunity. Thank you, Chitkara.
Thank you.
Over to you, Kavita.
Thank you so much, Natwar. I love Mecca. That's something I didn't know, and that's like good learning today. You know. Thank you. And of course, our last speaker for the day, Shruti Mishra. She's currently working in Puma with 10 plus years of experience across IT, retail, and FMCG. Yes, please, Shruti. We'd love to hear you.
Great. Thank you, Kavita. And being the last on the list of speakers, I think it's a huge responsibility to probably, in a way, summarize the entire conversation and, of course, sharing my thoughts here. So firstly, my heartfelt thank you to the management of Chitkara, Dr. Ashok Chitkara and Dr. Madhu Chitkara for inviting me to be a part of this esteemed panel. I had immense learning in spending, so many minutes, so many hours on this conversation. And, I believe that the most important realization that has occurred in the last few months is that we are all in the same storm, though we are all in different boats. So whether you talk about business continuity, you talk about technological innovation, tech evolving from being enabler to a game changer, reskilling, upskilling opportunity, dealing with dynamics of regulatory and compliances, or we look at people management. At Puma, of course, we ensured, as I spoke earlier also, that we ensured we protect the lives as well as livelihoods of all our employees and also their families. Now, what worked for us in all this entire situation was having an entrepreneurial mindset amongst each one of us in terms of employees, each one of us in terms of management, in terms of organizations. And I believe this is one of the most important traits to be developed and nurtured from a very young age. Not relying on the laurels of yesterday, but being nimble towards change, and nothing but COVID could only bring us to this realization. Coming to Punjab, Punjab is no alien to this entrepreneurial culture. We've had India's first auto rickshaw aggregator called Jugnu, which was born here. We had Viz IQ EduTech startup in Chandigarh, which is one of the world's largest cloud-based education platform. Yarn Store India sells, manufactures, and supplies several types of wools and polyesters to the business. And these are some of the few names that I'm sharing here, which sets the context. For us, Puma, Punjab has been extremely generous and profitable from a business standpoint. We have started opening and operating our owned and operated stores in the year 2018, and we had 100% growth in terms of store opening and store operations in the year 2019. And even in the pandemic of 2020, we are doing revenues which are much better than 2019, specific to the state of Punjab. We employ more than 100 plus people across the state, across different cities. And in 2021, we have aggressive expansion plan, and hopefully things would get back to normal. And we have expansion plans in cities like Hoshiarpur, cities like Moga, Barnala, Firozpur, Gurdaspur. We any which ways have covered a lot of cities already in Punjab, and these are some of the cities which we are aggressively eyeing to grow. Now, having said that, what it means for us is providing career opportunities to the young and aspiring minds, and also strengthening the earning potential of each family. We are looking at academic collaboration. We are looking at partnering with the state skilling organizations, NSDC, and NGOs that work on grassroots level. Our endeavor here is to hire the students and the candidates, hone them within our Puma system, make them see a career path, make them see a developmental path with us. And these students and candidates are the kind of skill sets that we look are very basic. Somebody who understands the region, somebody who understands the market, students, candidates who are brave, they are not averse to taking risks. And when I say risk, it's calculated risk and not just going head on. Having a conviction and not shying away from doing hard work. Having agility, whether you talk about learning agility, you talk about technology, you talk about contextual, or you talk about innovation. And these students or candidates who not only contribute to their self-development, but also development of the brand and extending a hand or developing the community also at large. So these are my thoughts, and I just tried to sum it up as concisely as possible for the benefit of time of all the speakers who are present here.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, Shruti, for that. Very encouraging, very enthusiastic, really. Okay, and now I'll request Dr. Madhu Chitkara, Pro-Chancellor of Chitkara University, to please offer a vote of thanks to all our esteemed guests. Please.
Thank you, Kavita, for giving me this opportunity. And I think we all should be very thankful to, and all the speakers were also mentioning, that we should be very, very thankful to Honorable Chief Minister of Punjab, Captain Amarinder Singh ji, Honorable Chancellor of Chitkara University, our own Chancellor, Dr. Ashok K. Chitkara, all the industry stalwarts and faculty members and the students. I think this is a great moment where industry, academia and government are on the same platform to talk about that what will be happening and how to recalibrate 2020, how to take the youth of Punjab ready for the post-COVID world, and how to reset, rethink and redo the things. And I think that was a beautiful quotation written on my back, that we have to think on this. And I think we all were on the same platform. Sir, I want to tell that I was very impressed, whatever you were saying, that some takeaways from all of you, you were talking about it. I think first, Unmesh, when KPMG, he talked about that all the roles are going to change and more incubation centers are to be the need of the hour. We have to think new, think from the bottom, and more soft skills. I think the current industry needs more soft skill. I'm very thankful to Unmesh that you are touching the very emotional chord of our students, where they have to go for the, and we have, and all of you know that we have very strong incubation centers in our campuses. So thank you, Unmesh, for touching that point. Then when Mr. Sandesh was talking from Wipro, that there are going to place the students, and I think that I'm very thankful, Sandesh, that you were mentioning that still after this situation, you are all industries ready to take the students into there. So students worry and the parents worry and the states worried were that how our students are going to take a place in the industry. And I think everybody was talking about very positive thing. And then Mr. Sunil from Amazon, and we have a collaboration just with the lockdown. We did a collaboration in AWS with academic field also. And he was mentioning that there is a need for a lifelong learning and voice-based skills, artificial intelligence, machine learning. I think this is a need of the hour to understand the new skills, and this new technology should be very comfortable. Coming to Mr. Francis, that critical thinking followed by the critical listening and the 80% of internship for students in the industry. So I think it is a good news for Punjab government and for our CM Saab that the industry is ready for taking 80% of the students into their internship model. And coming to Mr. Sagar from Bharti Airtel, again, he was talking about incubation center and he was talking about giving the funding to the students. Just mentioning here, sir, I want to tell all the industry guys that during this lockdown, we did an activity which was Novate, and we invested 1 CR from Chitkara University to give this funding to not only to Chitkara students, but the students from all over India. If they have any product in mind or they have any idea in their mind, they can take the fund from Chitkara, and we have already given the funding to them. So it was a good suggestion. Coming to Miss Bhatia, and I think this industry I think the most affected industry was this. We were not able to travel, we were not able to go, and we all are trying to go to the hotels to have the food because we are tired of taking homemade food. So I think, and I think you appreciated the hospitality of Punjab, and we are proud of it that we Punjabis are great hospitality industry running, and you have seen that we have to learn from each other. And coming to Mr. Rao, Adani Group Power, and I think Adani Ambani's were most talked about in lockdown, and they have earned a lot during this period, and it is a great earning for our country like India. And he was talking about that talking about so many facts which I think need of the hour, analyticals, and then opportunity for growing in energy, and there will be lots of correction. and lots of opportunity for students. I think we are with you, sir. Then Mr. Vineet Arora, HDFC, we are working very closely with HDFC, and COVID has given the opportunity. He was talking that this challenge has given us opportunity, new learnings, and I think every customer has become, their mindset has changed, and they have come into the mobile banking. It's a great change. Man jeete, jag jeete, well said by you, sir. And EQ should be now stronger than IQ. And coming to Mr. Natwar from Hyundai Motors, and I think this industry also needs now correction, and change is innovative. Well said by you, sir. There is a shift in business model. As Kavita said, that we were impressed with Mika, and I think we will now give this new nomenclature in our industry also, and the conventional learning and learning by doing. So adaptability has to be there, flexibility has to be there. Last but not the least, I think all my speakers were the best speaker. I think this was the best roundtable discussion, where our CM was also very, I think very correctly said the need of our Punjab government. And Shruti, I am the, I think, youngest speaker, and I'm very impressed by you. You were, when you said that there is a storm for everybody, but we are on different boats. I impressed about that quote, and I will mention this in my one of this thing. And academic partnership, and I think you were very positive. You said that 100% growth in 2019 in state of Punjab, and 2020 also you said that we are expecting that. So hopes, great hopes, and thank you very much once again. Chitkara, during this lockdown, I just want to take half of a minute that during lockdown, we were into online mode. We did all the academic deliveries in a very effective manner. All our evaluations are done, or formative, summative evaluations are done. They have gone into the next class. New admissions are all on, and we have done with their orientation programs, and now they are taking the classes for their next session. So I think that was a good thing. Therefore, that I'm very proud of my faculty members, the students, and all the stakeholders, especially the parents. They were very positive about taking that as a challenge. And I think it was truly encouraging, and to hear from our Chief Minister very positive views. And when he was talking about that there should be a now better understanding of the challenges, and we have to take this challenge as an opportunity, and we have to find the solutions. And he is very, because the industry people should know that he's a chief minister where he is working from grassroots, and he's talking to everybody who's who can go to him to talk about their problems. And that is why solutions are coming very fast in the state of Punjab, and we are proud of it, that thanks to him for taking this roundtable in a very positive manner. So on behalf of the whole of Chitkara fraternity, I'm again thankful to CM Punjab, our Honorable Chief Minister, Captain Amarinder Singh ji, and all my people from the industry for sparing their valuable time for this interaction and giving us the direction. And I think my thanks to all the, once again, to all the members who were attending this session. And thank you very much. Last but not least, I'm very thankful to my Chancellor, Dr. Ashok Chitkara, for giving us so much of time and his patience that he is with us. Thank you very much, Kavita, for giving me this opportunity. Once again, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. Stay safe. And thank you from the bottom of our heart. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We'll not have this soon. Thank you.
Physical meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll have tea together. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.